This video exists because of boredom. I'm going to be talking over the bosses and some of the mini bosses from Dark Souls 3 and see which ones could potentially work in Nightreign, either as a field boss or a night boss. I know this is not an in-depth analysis, so don't expect much out of me besides me yapping about the bosses. I haven't got much else to say about this, so let's just get into it. Gundyr. I think he'd work as a decent field boss. Udix Gundyr anyway. Is that how you pronounce it? It's good enough to be a threat, but not as a dangerous threat like some of the other bosses in the game already. Champion Gundyr, however, has higher aggression, combos, and attack strings, and on a run as well as greater potential for him to be a night boss. Fort of the Boreal Valley. Better as a night boss than a field boss. I was really contemplating putting him as a field boss because of his charge, but now thinking about it, I think it suits him more as a night boss because of that. Plus the dancer's a night boss too. Can't have him feeling left out now. Also, I think his theme would sound much better inside the circle. Old Rotted Greatwood. Maybe? If it were, then I would say either a field boss kind of like the monkeys but with the villagers instead, or an exclusive shifting earth boss for the Rotted Woods. You know, because it's a rotted okay, moving on. Fire Demons. Field boss, not much to say here. They hit hard and they kind of have a decent amount of health. Crystal Sages. Field boss, maybe. I don't know. They have this weird gimmick where they split into 4 and teleport, but that looks better as a boss in the magical runes than anywhere else. But they're annoying enough to work as a field boss, or even a night boss. But again, with 3 people, their clones could get trivialized. Deacons of the Deep. Night boss. As a field boss or even a shifting earth boss, they might drag out the fight far too long to the point where it stops getting obnoxious. I mean, they're still obnoxious, but at least you won't have to waste your time during the day. Stone Stray Demons. Now, these guys have a reputation for throwing you off the map, and for that reason, they have to be a field boss. Although I wouldn't be completely against the idea of them being a night boss. The grab is the true terror behind these guys, at which they might chuck you out into the storm like Jazz with Uncle Phil, which could result in an insta-death with the tick damage. Plus, I feel like they deserve something, right? There's only one of them in the game and they never show up again. Abyss Watchers. This might be one of the few times where I'll say that they might be easier if they were to come into this game. And I say this because they can get staggered by pretty much everything. And they can also be backstabbed. They might actually end up being victims. Unless they had some hyper armor, they might actually stand a chance out there. I would like to see them again though. They were a good boss for their time, even if they were just an armor for Iron Eye. High Lord Wolnir. Hear me out. I was originally going to clown this guy because, well, look at this. How do you expect this to fit in Nightreign? But upon watching the intro cinematic, I saw the vision. A vision that counts as an invasion. Yeah, it's a raid event. That's the only thing I can think of. But just hear my vision real quick. Similar to Augur's bubbles, the black fog will target one person specifically and ensnare them in a world of darkness with just him. The boss fight will proceed as normal, breaking his bracelets, avoiding his morning breath, then sending him back to Brazil. The fight might end up being a lengthy one because you can't seem to hit any of his bracelets, meaning you might be stuck in the storm fighting him. But that's where your team comes in. The team who aren't taken in by the fog can free you. They have to find where the fog is coming from and then destroy the chalice that's producing it. There will be skeletons in the way, but they aren't mandatory. The boss will then die immediately and then you'll be able to rejoin your comrades and also potentially outrun the storm depending on how long it took. This will also reward you with a thing. Something. I don't know. I haven't really got that far. So how do you like my vision? Not bad, right? Right? Come on, tell me if it was at least half decent. Sullivan's Beasts. These guys are devastating enough to be a field boss and just maybe a night boss. They have everything the hippos have, but somehow kicked up to 100. Aggression, speed, equal damage, yes, even the strange hitboxes. But their one glaring weakness is that they give up completely after being riposted, which some characters can abuse easily. If they take out that mechanic or give them the same poise values of the ancient dragon, then hell will truly come forth. Pontiff Sullivan. Night boss, or an exclusive shifting earth boss. I think he would look really cool in this city, but that's just me. He's not enough for him to be worthy as a night boss. Also, did anyone know that he was originally meant to be the final boss of this game? Aldrich, Saint of the Deep. I can see this working, but only as one of the shifting earth bosses, or maybe a night boss. Those Reign of Arrows can be devastating and not give anyone enough room if it was in the circle. He is no gimmick fight, but he's a boss fight that I think would benefit better as a shifting earth boss than as a night boss. Yhorm the Giant. Now, this is a gimmick fight, so it's actually hard for me to fit him in. He has a decent moveset to fit in this game as a night boss, but what would they do about his gimmick? Do they make it like Maris and have one enemy drop the Storm Ruler before the fight? Or they just scrap the gimmick entirely and then just add him as a new boss, as a normal boss? Those are the only 2 ways I can see him work. I've not been making a mama set for Radar. Like the Majula lady, that set has actually never been able to be obtained in the base game. So it'd be really cool to see that again. These guys need new outfits, man. Dance off the oh wait, you're already here. Somehow even harder than before, but I doubt much has changed. Osiris, the Consumed King. Yeah, I say throw him in as a night boss so everyone can experience the obnoxious hitbox of the charge. Yes, I want him in there just for more people to hate him. Literally, double it and give it to the next person. I am actually so sick of this. Dragon Slayer armor. I don't know why, but field boss more than a night boss. Don't get me wrong, it is challenging and very fast. Actually, that sums up most of the bosses in this game. But fighting him again in the Ring City DLC changed my perspective. I feel him more as a random boss in the field than I did behind the arena. I don't know what it is, but the aura just grew. And for that reason, I'm saying field boss. A deadly one at that. And if it's a night boss, then give him the butterfly in phase 2. And give him the armor set for Guardian because he loves camping behind the shield.
This guy's tough.
Ancient Wyvern. Nameless Kid. Wait, you're already here, Gal. Lothric and Lorien. Twin princes. They can definitely work as a night boss. Lorien on his own can definitely hold his own weight. Well, not enough to stand, but. And Lothric's a strong assist for it to be a persistent threat. Plus, they're underrated as hell, and I think they deserve to be a night boss. If they were added to this game, phase 2 could work similarly to Nameless King, where Lothric could just spawn in and revive Lorien. Maybe throw in a new move, who knows? Switch things up a little. Soul of Cinder. Now here's a boss nobody talks about. Soul of Cinder is an amalgamation of all the souls who have linked the flame back in Dark Souls 1, with the First Lord helping out one last time to continue an already dying cycle. It wouldn't be more fitting for the boss that was essentially a love letter to end the Soul series in the game that has the potential to be the biggest love letter to the Soulsborne fans. He's got sorceries, pyromancies, miracles, parries, you miss, and the right amount of nostalgia to make a grown man cry. It would be perfect. What else is there to say about him? Also, make him a skin for Wilder. Sister Frida. The first boss in the entire franchise to have 3 phases. If she ever gets added to the game, it will have to be a night boss. But the only question is, will they keep all 3 phases or just cut one out? Either phase 1 then phase 3, or phase 2 then phase 3, or all 3, who knows? I actually want them to do all 3 for the ultimate test of endurance, but I doubt that would ever happen and they'll just do 2 phases. But maybe they could do a phase 3 fake out where it will end in phase 2, while other times it will end in phase 3. Just buy 2 cents in the matter. You'll probably come up with something better. Grave Tender Champion and Grave Tender Great Wolf. Alright, I know everyone loves to clown on this boss for how bad it is, but trust me, I have a cool idea for both of them. Everyone deserves a chance out here. Starting off with the Wolf, because that's easier for me to do. The Wolf on its own can be a night boss and evade events. It disappears after a certain HP threshold like it does during the first encounter of the DLC. And then if it's a night boss, then throw in some wolves for the pre-fight, and then they'll just add the phase 2 Wolf, because the Wolf deserves so much better. And the OSD, because for the fight it got shafted. I can't stress it enough. The OSD is one of the best in the entire game, and it's optional. And the Wolf is on its own. It's just a very solid fight. It's just held back by the fact that it's tied behind the NPC battle. Which, speaking of,
Know your place, trash.
old Demon King. I actually meant to mention this guy sooner. Making him shift the Mirth fight because for some reason he doesn't strike me as a night boss, but I respect his status enough to not make him some random demon that roams the fields. If he does get added, I can't wait for the amount of people to get called off by the final explosion. Demon in Pain, Demon from Below, the Twin Demon Princes. Another underrated boss fight. Man, there's quite a few underrated bosses in this game, huh? Also, random piece of lore. Lorien defeated the prince, which explains why his sword is in a constant state of not cooling the fuck out. They could work as a night boss. The first strategic night boss in a way. Killing one of them would lead to a different moveset between the one pair that gets back up. One shoots a meteor shower, the other has a laser light show. Better pick your poison with this one. Which one though? That's when you'll have to coordinate with your team to see which one you should kill first. This already sounds fun just thinking about it. Judicator. Not to get confused with Judicator Jugo, which is half-light spear of the church, which would also never work in this game like this. I'm talking about the ones you encounter when you enter the city and within the city itself. Funny little idea I had with them here. Make him a raid event. They'll randomly spawn somewhere, making noise while summoning highly powerful and damaging spirits on your position. But you ain't shooting arrows at you, so you don't have to worry about getting randomly blitzed during a fight with the Deathrite bird. His presence is known though. Ignore him at your peril. If you do, the summons will just keep spawning in faster. Getting close to him will then summon the firing squad though. Killing him will reward you with a thing. Again, whatever this thing is, I don't know. Just a cool little idea I had with him. Dark Eater Medea. Bale is better. Sorry, I had to get off my chest real quick. I love Medea though, top 2 dragon fights in the Soulsborne series, but he ain't beating Bale though. But anyway, can Medea fit in Nightreign? Yes, but I did have some doubts. Before making this video, I was so adamant that his moveset would simply be too big to fit anywhere in the game. This big dragon with this big moveset which covers his whole arena, which is larger than the circle closing and any of the shifting earth areas. But after fighting Medea again, it made me realize that his moveset isn't as large as I originally made it out to be. I mean, it's still big, but it seems like it's only just enough room for him to fit everything in my opinion. Is this part important to the video at all? No, but I'm putting this in here because I spent the last 7 hours overthinking if his moveset was too big or not. But I finally caved in and decided that he can work if the circle was bigger. In my opinion, the doubts are still there. But Night Boss if he can fit. Also, Bale's better than Medea still. And finally, I think, unless I forgot one, Slave Knight Gale. Gale in his own right can fit as a Night Boss. Which phases though? All three or just the second and the third? How I see it, phase 1 could be a raid invasion where he'll target one person specifically. His introduction? Defeating him will reward you with something. Wait, why am I still talking about the rewards? This is supposed to be just about the bosses. I'm going off topic. Second and third phase could work perfectly. His whole arena becomes a storm whenever he enters it anyway. Cosmetically, they should make the storm much more violent outside whenever he shows up. I just know the day he gets added, I'll never hear the end of it. Everyone and their uncle will be glazing this guy to the ends of the earth, and I will probably be one of them. Also, add his skin for Walla. And that's all the bosses I think would work in Nightreign. If you disagree, you can let me know down below in the comments to argue which ones could or could not work, even if I don't see it. I would like to know everyone's thoughts and opinions on the matter. Also, if you did enjoy this, please like the video and possibly subscribe, maybe? I do have to clear out some backlog though, so expect some more random Nightreign clips from months back. But again, thanks for watching and hope to see you again soon. Okay, so post-edited me forgot to mention the angels from the Ring City DLC. Just made them a raid. Okay, bye for real. She just waved at the bottom.